What's poppin', world? Peace to the family. Peace to the family. Alright. Yeah, you know, I'm living for the action. I'm a real dark Wesley Snipes looking type. Anyway. Appreciate all the patience, everybody. I know the brothers and sisters, my dudes been getting at me like, man, what's up with another video? We're gonna get more consistent in the future. Anybody who know me knows I'm on the road, so it get a little bit complicated for me to just drop them how I want to drop them. Like, I'm on the road right now. You know, shout out to the Keepers crew. We've been filming all week, so I had to shoot out to Ohio and get my man Jay Towns, my #1 actor, back there. So shout out to my boy Jay Towns. Anyway, since we're gonna be rocking with each other for a minute, I don't even know how long this gonna be. Like I said, I'm on the highway in a minute. I'm gonna be stopping at toll booths and all kind of madness, but whatever. We're gonna get it popping as long as we can. My biggest thing is this right here. We gotta start getting some understanding as a unit. Just certain things that I think will help us move forward, because this is all about self-education. So we're gonna call this right here hidden in plain sight. And I was gonna do perception and analytics was gonna be the next one, but I feel like before we do that, we need to stop here first, because it'll make more sense when we drop the next one, because that one's gonna be deep. And all these not gonna be just like, you know, we're gonna have some stationary joints where we got, you know, we just sitting back chilling at the crib and we got plenty of time. Sometimes y'all gonna be like, this nigga dude talk too long. But either way it goes. So as far as, like I say, hidden in plain sight, it's just, my purpose to this is just to show you how many things you look at, you don't even know what you're looking at. So like, my pet peeve, what I'm really big on is like social media really get to you, because, and not even in that aspect, I personally don't really take social media seriously. You know, I'm barely even up there. I probably could be doing better with all kind of stuff if I spend more time on there, but I don't. So either way it go. But what I'm saying, like I say, opinions are deadly, and especially when they're coming from quote unquote popular sources. And people will give you opinions with no factual base. But what makes it crazy is because, like, they think it's factual based, because you all think the news is fact. You all think CNN is what's happening. So it's like the more refined, educated black person in this day and age, you know, for lack of better ways of putting it, especially like in a younger bracket, that maybe didn't all go to college, but is trying to educate themselves and catch up with maybe what they should have knew back in the days. You know, that crowd has engulfed themselves in CNN and Fox News and, you know, all these different news outlets and newspaper outlets. And I can only say this so many times, but people just don't understand. And that's what we're going to deal with tonight. None of this is what you think. And that's what's killing me. Like you can't. It's like people, if I'm having a debate with Christians, it's just an example, because I debate all religions, I mean intelligent debate, not like we're just sitting around cursing each other out and nobody's getting anywhere. I mean, like, I'm into intelligent debate. That's what I like. And people will try to prove the Bible right with the Bible. Like, how's that work? It's like looking for corruption, trying to prove there's no corruption in the police force by using the police force. You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't make sense. If you're going to add validity to your statement or to your argument or to your religion, you need to go outside the normal channels of investigation. Take several different sources and put things together, you know, and let it be an accumulative of studies how you formulate your opinion. It shouldn't be one or two sources that come from not so trusting, you know, avenues to news. Like, this is the same news that we've seen repeatedly lie about all kind of stuff. We've seen them lie about who won the election, give it to the wrong guy, and then, I mean, we've seen so many things on the news that are inaccurate. And we still, I mean, like, for those of us who actually caught up to the rest of the world, this is the same news that still pushes this 9/11 agenda. And for all the smart people, like, we know what happened. And I realize that I probably pissing people off that are still in fantasy land and think that, like, the narrative they gave us on the news is reality. But on a board day, I could have a ball with that whole thing. It's horrible. It didn't happen. Not what you thought happened anyway. Of course it happened, but that's what we're going to deal with today. Hidden in plain sight. And I also say that we got to start broadening our horizon of studies. Like, you got to get into some science. You got to get into some history. American history. And outside other cultures, definitely got to get into some African history. Ethiopia, Egypt, Nile Valley cultures. You got to get into these things, because how could you, as a melanated person, and I don't only speak to melanated people, I just am at the moment. I expect everybody to watch because I got something for everyone. But if you melanated, how can you in any way, shape, or form say that you don't want to identify with Africa? That's absurd. Any thought process you have in your head telling you that you shouldn't identify with Africa, slap yourself. That's retarded. Of course you should. It's the foundation of all existence on this planet. And if you got, we'll say, a leg up because you're a melanated being, then this is your culture. You are a part of the historical beginning, and you don't want no parts of that. For why? Because of your religion, or because you're in love with the opposite race? I mean, like, none of that shit matters. Y'all fall for that dumbass shit. Love who you want to love. Don't mean you can't be pro-black. But I do got a problem with you Negroes who get with the opposite race, and then you start saying little cliche dumb shit. And especially if you're African American and you've only dated outside of your race. That's a problem for me, simply because then, from my experience, I've always heard so many biased opinions coming from there. Because, like, the real brothers and sisters, we struggling. And I'm not promoting the struggle, but what I'm saying is it's a reality for a large percentage of African Americans. So I say that to say this. If you have never had the privilege or disprivilege of struggling with your own kind, then you cannot formulate an intelligent opinion. So what you should do is just not have one. Never speak down on your people because you're with someone else or a different race. And I'm saying stuff like statements like, you'll hear brothers say, well, like we was dealing with the Kanye West thing, and then y'all got so teary-eyed over that Kanye. Sorry, Granny, bullshit. It was. I'm sorry, it was. And then he sat right there and he said about, you know, he's talking about the police reform, and then he threw that, even though more blacks are killing each other, but that doesn't excuse the. See, y'all didn't catch it. Y'all see how he slid that in there. Now I know a lot of you niggas gonna say, well, they do. And see, that's y'all freaking problem. Anything they say, you fucking repeat it because you don't think. First of all, First of all, let's just start here since we're talking about hidden in plain sight. Never, ever repeat the phrase black on black crime. What the hell is that? If you only stay around black people and you do decide to kill, it'll probably be a black person. Most white people kill white people, unless you're the police. But, I mean, that's a stupid phrase created by the oppressor. You picked it up, took it around with it like you always do. There's no such freaking thing as black on black crime. First of all. Second of all, it's like having cancer and not caring where you got it from. You got to know something about cancer in order to get rid of it. You can't just say, hey, that's cancer, let's deal with it. No. How did it get here? Where did it come from? What's its origins? What kind of cancer is it? So, why is the killing taking place? No one wants to deal with the why, because you'll make excuses about that also. But that's not what today is about. I'm going to deal with that, but that's not what today is about. Let's get back to the point before we go there. Trust me, we're going back. We got to start here, though. The most important word in this English language is perception. It doesn't necessarily matter what you see. It's what you assess from what you see. How do you feel and think and interact with what you've just seen? That is perception. How you see a thing. Perception is everything. That's my number one rule, and it's been my number one rule for years. 20 years or better. Here's why. You have optimism, you have pessimistic. Optimistic, pessimistic. There you go. There we go. So now, as in the glass is half empty, the glass is half full. You get it. Now, this is why this matters. Because until your perception has been fine-tuned, you will see a thing, look at it, and not see it for what it's worth constantly. Because you're not looking for anything. You're looking to affirm what you already think. Like, as in religion. As in the 9/11 thing we just spoke of. Once the media feeds you an ideology, once the pastor feeds you an ideology, once the book feeds you an ideology, that is the moment when you turn your brain off. Because someone has just told you what you should be thinking. If the pastor reads a biblical scripture to you, the pastor then gives you the breakdown on what that scripture means. What happens? At the point where the pastor says, here's what that scripture means, you stop thinking. And that's the purpose. You haven't then been told what to think about something that you have given your life to. So the entire time that you are part of something that you have given your life to, the only thoughts that you have are the ones that you have been repeatedly told to think. What does this do? This allows your perception, which is what I just told you is the most important thing, to lay dormant, meaning it does nothing. You cannot sharpen it. You cannot sharpen your vision if you're not using it. You cannot fine-tune your perception if it's laying dormant, not being used on a regular basis. So, perception is everything. Look at a thing, analyze it from every possible angle before you formulate a conclusion. And do not, I repeat, do not allow someone else to tell you how you should feel about something that you're taking in. This is your temple. This is your vessel. No one else should tell you how you should think or how you should feel about your vessel. Use your perception, not even me. I'm not telling you anything other than use your perception. Figure it out for your own. Any message you hear from me, you're going to always hear me say, look it up. Because these are my findings. Truth and perception go hand in hand. Because I could say something is true all day, but if your perception reads it a different way, then to you it's not true. So then what is truth? Absolutely. Now, back to it. Now, with this whole perception thing, hidden in plain sight is the topic. Now we're about to get to the nitty-gritty. I'm going to ask a few questions that I already know the answer to, but I know the answer you're going to give. So, let's ride with it. Alright, y'all gotta excuse me, I'm just getting over a little, whatever it is. I don't like to say cold, because I don't believe in getting sick, but a little something just happened and now it's gone. Alright, there we go. So now, back to this whole thing. Let's get busy, baby. We're gonna get busy tonight on the highway. Just let y'all know I'm dedicated. I'm on an 8-hour road trip, and I'm dedicated. I'm gonna kick this info with the fam. And I'm drinking, what's this? I'm notorious for the gas station cup. That's all in my crib. But this is the Body Armor juice. I be digging them joints. Y'all know I'm still 3 months into this no meat thing. Don't ask me am I vegan or vegetarian, because I'm neither one. I really don't know what I am. I'm just kind of winging it. But no meat and don't have a desire for it. That's a whole nother lecture. Anyway, load my cup back up, and let's get busy. Now, here we go. What is the, if you, and a lot of you are gonna be familiar with Midwestern culture. If you're familiar with Midwestern culture, what was always, and now listen to the words I'm saying, what was always the most popular Midwest gangs? The most publicized, the most glamorized, two popular Midwest gangs. Anybody, familiar with gang culture knows, they will say the Gangster Disciples and the Vice Lords. Now, any body with gang affiliation, which I know a lot of people who watch this, when I say well, a lot of what, I speak to all branches, and I've been in that walk of life. So anybody who is affiliated, hear my words and don't use the emotional part of your mind. Listen to what I'm saying. The most glamorized and popularized, not anything else you want to think about your own affiliation, but the most popularized and the most glamorized Midwestern gangs have always been the Gangster Disciples and the Vice Lords. Okay, what's the color of these two gangs? Red and blue. Now, elsewhere and even now to today, what is the most two popular gang cultures? Bloods and Crips. The most publicized, the most popular. That's all we're saying. Bloods and Crips. Red and blue. What is your American flag? Red, white, and blue. Democrat, Republican. Red and blue. Boxing. What are the corners separated into? The red and the blue. Noticing pattern here? If you, the Masonic lodges are broken into what? The red lodge, blue lodge. What are the most two popular colors on the color spectrum? First colors your baby gonna learn, red and blue. Where's all this going? If you don't know, then I don't even know what to say at this point. But what I'm saying is this. These things that I'm saying are all things that you can Google. I don't speak on anything in depth that's personal that could hurt others. But I am saying these are things you can Google. Now, with that being said, moving right along. Symbolism for Midwestern gangs. You had what was called the 6-point star, and you had the 5-point star. Religious culture for what was God's chosen people, God's chosen people, the 6-point star. And for Satan's chosen people, the 5-point star. For those of you who are not familiar with all the, and I know most of you are by now, if not, you've been living in a cave somewhere, all of the symbolism on the back of the American dollar. But